I'm standing in my cozy Chicago apartment, the air filled with the scent of lavender from the diffuser I bought last week, my hands smoothing the throw blanket on my vintage couch, my heart full of a quiet pride. My name's Elise, I'm 29, and I've always been the put-together one. The one who plans, the one who organizes, the one who cares too much. My life is a carefully curated collection of thrifted furniture, houseplants I've kept alive for years, and a career as a graphic designer that I've built from scratch. My apartment is my sanctuary, a one-bedroom in Lincoln Park with exposed brick walls, a tiny kitchen with a window herb garden, and a bookshelf filled with novels I've read a dozen times. I found this place 3 years ago, after a grueling search that left me exhausted but hopeful, and I've spent every spare moment making it mine. Painting the walls a soft sage green, hanging string lights over my bed, arranging my collection of ceramic mugs on a shelf above the sink. I remember the first night I spent here, sitting cross-legged on the floor with a glass of wine, surrounded by unpacked boxes, imagining the life I'd build in this space. This apartment is where I feel safe, where I feel whole, where I feel me. I grew up in a small town in Wisconsin, where chaos was the norm, my parents' constant arguments, my older brother's reckless teenage years, the uncertainty of never knowing what would happen next. I moved to Chicago at 22, determined to create a life that was mine, a life I could control, a life that felt stable. This apartment became the cornerstone of that dream, a place where I could breathe, where I could create, where I could be the version of myself I always wanted to be. Every piece in here tells a story. The vintage couch I found at a flea market and reupholstered myself, the basil plant I've nurtured since it was a tiny seedling, the framed print of a Van Gogh painting I bought to celebrate my first big freelance gig. This space is my refuge, my escape, my home, a home I've fought for, a home I've earned, a home I've loved. I've been dating Ryan for a year now, a 30-year-old software engineer with a quiet smile and a steady presence, a guy I thought was my future. We met at a mutual friend's game night, his laugh catching my attention across the room, his "you're really good at charades, want to team up next round," sparking something warm in my chest. Ryan's the kind of guy who shows up, who remembers my coffee order, black with a splash of oat milk, who texts me goodnight even when he's working late. He's the opposite of the chaos I grew up with, his calm demeanor a balm to my anxious heart. We've had our share of fights, mostly over my need for control and his tendency to avoid conflict, but we always worked through them. I remember one night, after a silly argument about whose turn it was to pick the movie, we ended up ordering Thai food and watching The Office until we fell asleep on his couch, his arm around me, his apology a soft whisper in my ear. I thought we were building something real, something lasting, something I could hold on to. I'd even started imagining a future with him, maybe moving in together, maybe a ring one day, maybe a life that felt like ours. Ryan's younger brother, Jake, 25, is the opposite of him, a chaotic whirlwind of energy, a bartender with a reputation for trouble. Jake's always been the black sheep of their family, the one who dropped out of college after a semester, the one who got arrested for a bar fight last year, the one who always has a new get-rich-quick scheme that never pans out. I've only met Jake a handful of times, at Ryan's birthday dinner, where he showed up an hour late with a random date who kept flirting with everyone at the table. At a family barbecue, where he accidentally set a picnic table on fire trying to impress everyone with a lighter trick, laughing as the flames spread. At a Christmas party, where he got so drunk he broke a vase and laughed it off, his "I'll replace it, don't worry," a promise he never kept. Each time, I'd catch a glimpse of his charm, his easy grin, his "I'll figure it out" attitude, but I'd also see the warning signs. The way he'd dodge questions about his life. The way he'd borrow money from Ryan and never pay it back. The way he'd leave a trail of chaos wherever he went. I remember the Christmas party vividly, the way Ryan's mom pulled me aside after Jake's outburst. Her "he's always been like this. Just try to be patient with him." A warning I didn't fully heed, a warning I thought I could handle, a warning I thought wouldn't apply to me. Last month, Jake showed up at Ryan's place, his duffel bag slung over his shoulder, his story a familiar one. I just need a place to crash for a few weeks, he told Ryan, his voice casual, his eyes avoiding contact. Ryan called me that night, his voice heavy with exhaustion, his words laced with guilt. Jake got evicted again, he's got nowhere to go, and I can't let him stay with me because of my lease, he explained, his tone pleading. I know it's a lot to ask, Elise, but could he stay with you? Just for a couple of weeks, until he gets back on his feet. I'd owe you big time, I promise. I sat on my couch, my fingers tracing the stitching on the throw blanket, my mind racing. My apartment is my sanctuary, a space I've poured my heart into, a space I've kept sacred. I thought about the last time Jake was at Ryan's place, how he'd borrowed Ryan's headphones and never returned them, how he'd left a sink full of dishes and laughed when Ryan asked him to clean up, how he'd thrown a party at Ryan's old apartment and left it a mess, Ryan cleaning up after him while Jake slept off his hangover. But I love Ryan, and I wanted to be the girlfriend he could count on, the girlfriend he could trust, the girlfriend he could love. So I said yes, of course, he can stay, I'll make it work. A decision I thought was kind, a decision I thought was right, a decision I thought I'd never regret. I spent the next day preparing for Jake's arrival, my hands rearranging my apartment, my heart a mix of anxiety and hope. I cleared out my tiny office nook, setting up an air mattress with fresh sheets, a spare pillow, and a folded towel at the foot. I even left a small basket of snacks, granola bars, a bag of chips, a couple of apples on the desk, a gesture I thought would make him feel welcome. I hope you'll be comfortable here, I said when he arrived, my voice warm, my smile genuine. Jake dropped his duffel bag by the door, his eyes scanning my apartment, his nice place you've got here, real cozy, a compliment I thought was sincere. I set some ground rules, no smoking, no loud music, no guests without asking, my voice firm, my boundaries clear. I'm trusting you, Jake, I added, my eyes meeting his, my tone serious. He nodded, his got it, Elise, I'll be on my best behavior, a promise I thought I could believe, a promise I thought I could trust, a promise I thought would hold. The first few days were fine, Jake mostly keeping to himself, his I'm heading to work, see you later, a routine I thought was normal. I'd come home from my freelance projects, my apartment still intact, my plants still watered, my space still mine. Ryan would call every night, his how, Jake doing, you holding up okay? A question I thought was sweet, a question I thought was caring. He's fine, no trouble so far, I'd say, my smile soft, my heart light. I thought I was doing the right thing, thought I was helping, thought I was building something with Ryan, a future I thought was ours, a future I thought was real. A future I thought was safe. It's Friday night, and I'm at Ryan's place, the air warm with the scent of the pizza we ordered, my head on his shoulder, my laughter mixing with his as we watch a rom-com on his laptop. I told Jake I'd be staying over at Ryan's, I'll be back tomorrow morning, don't do anything crazy, okay? A warning I thought was clear, a warning I thought he'd heed. He'd grinned, his don't worry, Elise, I'll just chill and watch some Netflix. A response I thought was honest, a response I thought I could trust. I believed him, my mind at ease, my heart light, my night a moment of peace I thought I deserved. We stayed up late, Ryan's hand in mine, his I'm so glad you're in my life, Elise a whisper that made my heart swell, a whisper I thought was true, a whisper I thought was ours. I wake up the next morning to a string of missed calls and texts, my phone buzzing on Ryan's nightstand, my heart sinking, my stomach twisting into a knot I can't untie. The texts are from my neighbor, Mrs. Carter, a sweet older woman who lives across the hall, her messages a frantic blur of Elise, there's a party at your place, it's so loud. And I think something broke, I heard glass. And I called the police, I'm so sorry, but it's out of control. I bolt upright, my hands shaking, my mind racing, my breath shallow. Ryan, something's wrong, Mrs. Carter says there's a party at my place, I say, my voice trembling, my fear a wave I can't stop. He sits up, his what? Jake wouldn't do that, he knows better, a reassurance I want to believe but can't. I scroll through my phone, finding a voicemail from another neighbor, Mr. Thompson, his voice gruff, his Elise, there are people spilling into the hallway. It's a mess. You need to get here now, a warning that sends my panic into overdrive. We drive back to my place in a panic, Ryan in the passenger seat, his I'm sure it's not that bad. Jake wouldn't do something like that, a hope I cling to but don't feel. When I pull up to my building, the street is chaos, cars double parked, empty beer cans littering the sidewalk, the faint thump of music still echoing from my apartment. Mrs. Carter is outside, her arms crossed, her face a mix of worry and anger. "Elise, I tried to stop them, but there were too many people. I didn't know what else to do," she says, her voice shaking, her eyes apologetic. Mr. Thompson is there too. I saw at least 30 people go in, some of them were carrying spray paint, a detail that makes my blood run cold. I nod my "Thank you, Mrs. Carter, Mr. Thompson. I'll handle it," a promise I'm not sure I can keep, my heart pounding, my fear a weight I can't lift. I run up the stairs, my key trembling in the lock, my breath ragged, my mind a storm of dread I can't calm. I push the door open, and the sight hits me like a physical blow, my apartment a war zone, my sanctuary destroyed, my life turned upside down. The floor is sticky with spilled drinks, my vintage couch stained with what looks like red wine, my bookshelf toppled over, my novels scattered and torn, their pages crumpled under empty cans. My herb garden is trampled, my basil and thyme crushed into the floor, their pots shattered, their soil scattered like ash. My walls are covered in graffiti, someone spray-painted "Party Hard" in neon green across my exposed brick, another scrawled "Jake Rules" in black marker on my kitchen cabinets, the words a cruel mockery of everything I've built. My string lights are torn down, dangling from the ceiling, their bulbs shattered on the floor, my space a thing I thought was sacred, now a thing I can't recognize, a thing I can't reclaim, a thing I can't bear. Jake is passed out on my air mattress, a half-empty bottle of whiskey in his hand, his shirt stained with vomit, his snores a sound that grates against my nerves. There are strangers everywhere, some still drinking, some passed out on my floor, one guy vomiting into my kitchen sink, another couple making out on my dining table, their hands knocking over a framed photo of me and Ryan from our first trip together, the glass cracked, the memory tainted. A group of guys in the corner are laughing, one of them holding a can of spray paint. "This place needed some color?" A taunt that makes my stomach churn. I scream, my voice raw, my tears falling, my pain a fire I can't extinguish. "Jake, what the hell did you do?" I yell, my hands shaking, my heart breaking, my home a place I thought was mine, now a place I can't recognize, a place I can't save. Jake stirs, his eyes bleary, his grin lazy, his "Relax, Elise, it's just a party, we had a good time," a response that sends my anger into overdrive. "A good time?" I scream, my voice cracking, my tears soaking my shirt, my rage a storm I can't control. "You trashed my apartment, Jake. My home, my sanctuary, my life, everything I worked for, everything I loved, everything I built, you destroyed it, you ruined it, you took it from me." He shrugs, his "I'll clean it up. Chill out," a dismissal I can't accept, a dismissal that fuels my fury, a dismissal that breaks me. "Clean it up?" I say, my voice trembling, my hands clenched into fists. "You think you can clean this up? My plants are dead, my walls are ruined, my memories are shattered. You can't clean this up, Jake, you can't fix this, you can't give me back what you took." He rolls his eyes, "You're overreacting. It's not that bad," a lie that makes my blood boil, a lie that makes me want to scream louder, a lie that makes me want to make him pay. I turn to Ryan, my eyes pleading, my heart in pieces, my trust a thing I thought we shared, now a thing I can't find. "You said he'd be fine, Ryan, you said I could trust him, you said I could trust you," I say, my voice breaking, my tears falling, my pain a weight I can't carry. "You knew who he was, you knew what he's capable of, and you let this happen, you let him destroy my home, my sanctuary, my life, a life I thought was ours, a life I thought was real." Ryan looks at the mess, his face pale, "I didn't know, Elise, I'm so sorry, I didn't think he'd do this." A response I can't believe, a response I can't forgive. "You didn't think?" I yell, my voice raw, my heart shattered. "This is your brother, Ryan. You knew he's a walking disaster, you knew he's reckless, you knew, and you let this happen, you let him destroy everything I built, everything I loved, everything I thought was ours." He reaches for me, "Elise, please, let me help. I'll make this right," a plea I can't hear, a plea I can't accept. "No, Ryan," I say, stepping back, my voice cold, my tears hot. "You can't make this right. You let this happen, and I can't look at you without seeing this, without feeling this, without having this." The strangers in my apartment start to scatter, their drunken laughter fatting as they stumble out, leaving me with the wreckage of my life, a wreckage I can't escape, a wreckage I can't repair, a wreckage I can't survive. I'm sitting on the curb outside my building, the air cold against my skin, the city noise a hum I can't hear, my tears soaking my jeans, my hands trembling as I clutch a broken piece of my favorite ceramic mug. Its blue glaze chipped, its handle snapped off. I sent Jake packing. His "I'll make it up to you," Elise a hollow promise I didn't want to hear, his duffel bag slung over his shoulder as he left, his exit a relief I thought would help but didn't. Ryan stayed to help clean, his "I'll fix this, I promise," a vow I wanted to believe but couldn't. We spent hours scrubbing the floors, my hands raw from the bleach, my knees aching from kneeling, my tears falling as I tried to erase the stains, the smells, the memories of the night that broke me. I tried to save what I could, picking up the torn pages of my favorite novel, Pride and Prejudice, its cover ripped, its words smudged with beer. A book I'd read every year since I was 16, a book that felt like a friend, now a book I can't read, a book I can't hold, a book I can't love. I look at my apartment, the space I've poured my heart into, the space I've made my own, now a shadow of what it was. The stains on my couch won't come out, the red wine a permanent scar on the fabric I spent months searching for at thrift stores. My bookshelf is broken beyond repair, its shelves splintered, my novels ruined, their pages torn and stained with beer. My herb garden is gone, my basil and thyme trampled into the floor, their pots shattered, their soil scattered like ash. My walls are still marked with neon green graffiti, the party hard, a taunt I can't cover, no matter how many coats of paint I apply. My string lights are in a pile on the floor, their bulbs shattered, their glow extinguished. My sanctuary, a place I thought was sacred, now a place I can't recognize, a place I can't reclaim, a place I can't bear. I walk to my bedroom, hoping to find some piece of my life untouched, but even there, the damage is everywhere. My bed is unmade. The sheets stained with something I don't want to identify, my nightstand drawer open, my journal missing. Its pages likely scattered among the debris, my private thoughts exposed, my safe space violated, my heart broken. I think about all the time I spent making this place my own, the late nights I stayed up arranging my books by color, the weekends I spent scouring flea markets for the perfect throw pillows, the mornings I sat by my window with a cup of tea, watching the sunrise over the city, my plants basking in the light, my heart at peace. I think about the memories I made here. The first time Ryan came over, his "This place is so you," Elise a compliment that made me blush. The night I landed my biggest freelance contract, celebrating with a bottle of cheap wine and a playlist of 90s hits, dancing alone in my living room until I collapsed on the couch, laughing. The quiet evenings I spent reading on my couch, my lavender diffuser filling the air with calm, my mind at rest, my soul at ease. This apartment was my safe haven, my escape, my home, a home I thought was mine, now a home I can't recognize, a home I can't reclaim, a home I can't rebuild. I think about Jake, the brother I thought I could help, the brother I thought I could trust, the brother I thought I could handle, now the brother who betrayed me, the brother who destroyed me, the brother who broke me. I remember the way he grinned when he moved in, his "you're a lifesaver," Elise, a lie I should have seen through, his charm a mask I should have recognized, his chaos a storm I should have predicted. I think about the stories Ryan told me about Jake, the times he'd bylaid him out of trouble, the times he'd cleaned up his messes, the times he'd hoped Jake would change, stories I thought were in the past, stories I thought wouldn't touch me, stories I thought I could ignore. I think about Ryan, the boyfriend I thought I knew, the boyfriend I thought I loved, the boyfriend I thought I trusted, now the boyfriend who let this happen, the boyfriend who failed me, the boyfriend who broke me. I remember the way he'd call every night, his "how's Jake doing?" A question I thought was caring, now a question I see as avoidance, a question I see as denial, a question I see as betrayal. I look at Ryan, his hands scrubbing my floor, his apologies a sound I can't hear, a sound I can't accept, a sound I can't forgive. "I can't do this, Ryan," I say, my voice quiet, my tears falling, my heart a weight I can't carry. I can't be with someone who let this happen, who let his brother destroy my home, my sanctuary, my life, a life I thought was ours, a life I thought was real. He looks at me, his eyes wide, his "Elise, please, we can work through this, I'll make it right," a plea I can't believe, a plea I can't forgive. No, Ryan, I say, my voice steady, my heart cold, my decision final. You let this happen, you let him destroy everything I built, everything I loved, everything I thought was ours, and I can't forgive that, I can't forget that, I can't stay with that. He tries to speak, his I didn't know, I swear, I'll fix it, I'll pay for everything, a promise I can't hear, a promise I can't trust. It's not about the money, Ryan, I say, my voice breaking, my tears falling. It's about the trust, the safety, the love I thought we had, a love I thought was real, now a love I can't feel, a love I can't keep. I think about the future I'd imagined with him, the dreams I'd let myself have, the life I thought we'd build. A life that now feels like a lie. A life that now feels like a dream. A life that now feels like nothing. He leaves, his head down, his I'm sorry, a whisper I can't hear. His exit a moment I thought would hurt, but doesn't. I sit alone in my ruined apartment, the silence heavy, the air thick with the scent of cleaning products and regret, my home a place I thought was mine, now a place I can't recognize, a place I can't reclaim. I feel the weight of my loss, my plants dead, my furniture ruined, my walls defaced, my sanctuary gone, my life a thing I thought was mine, now a thing I can't see, a thing I can't feel, a thing I can't bear. I feel the anger start to rise, a fire in my chest, a need to make Jake pay, a need to make him see, a need to make him feel, a need I can't ignore, a need I can't suppress, a need I can't deny. It's a week later, and I'm standing outside the bar where Jake works, my hands steady, my heart cold, my anger a fire I can't extinguish. I've spent the last 7 days trying to salvage what's left of my apartment, my hands painting over the graffiti, my savings drained on a new couch, my plants replaced with ones that don't feel the same, my sanctuary a place I thought was sacred, now a place I can't recognize, a place I can't reclaim. I've spent the last 7 days thinking about Jake, the brother who betrayed me, the brother who destroyed me, the brother who broke me, his chaos a storm I couldn't predict, a storm I couldn't stop, a storm I couldn't survive. I've thought about the way he laughed off the destruction, his it's not that bad a taunt that plays on a loop in my mind, his carelessness a knife that cuts deeper with every memory, his betrayal a wound that won't heal. I've decided to make him pay, my anger a force I can't ignore, my pain a weight I can't carry, my need for justice a fire I can't put out. I've gathered evidence of the party, photos of the damage, screenshots of Mrs. Carter's texts, a police report from that night, a record of the chaos he caused, a record of the destruction he left, a record of the life he took. I've created a flyer, a bold black and white printout with the words Jake Miller. The guy who trashes homes and lives, in screaming red letters, the photos of my ruined apartment plastered across it, the story of his betrayal laid bare for the world to see, a story I thought was private, now a story I can't hide, a story I can't keep. I've printed 50 copies, my hands trembling as I stack them, my heart racing as I planned my next move, my resolve a steel I didn't know I had, a steel I didn't know I needed, a steel I didn't know I'd use. I walk into the bar, my hands steady, my heart racing, my plan a thing I can't change, a thing I can't undo, a thing I can't regret. The place is packed, the air thick with the scent of beer and sweat, the music loud, the crowd a mix of regulars and strangers, their laughter a sound I can't stand, their ignorance a thing I can't bear. Jake is behind the bar, his grin wide, his charm on full display as he pours drinks, his what can I get you? A question I can't answer, a question I can't hear. I wait until the bar is at its busiest, my hands clutching the stack of flyers, my heart a drum I can't silence, my anger a storm I can't calm. I start handing them out, my voice loud, my words sharp, my pain a fire I can't hide. This is Jake Miller, I say, my voice carrying over the music, my flyers passed from hand to hand, my story a thing I thought was mine, now a thing I can't keep, a thing I can't hold. He trashed my apartment, destroyed my life, ruined everything I built, everything I loved, everything I thought was mine, and he doesn't care, he doesn't regret, he doesn't pay, until now. The crowd murmurs, their eyes on the flyers, their whispers a sound I can't unhear, their judgment a weight I can't escape. Some laugh their damn dude, you really messed up, a taunt that makes Jake's face go pale, his grin gone, his Elise, what the hell are you doing? A question I can't answer with kindness, a question I can't answer with mercy. I'm making sure everyone knows who you are, Jake. I say, my voice steady, my tears dry, my heart a thing I can't break. I'm making sure you pay for what you did, for what you took, for what you destroyed, a home I thought was mine, a home I thought was sacred, now a home I can't recognize, a home I can't reclaim. His boss steps out from the back, his eyes on the flyer, his Jake, we need to talk, now a consequence I knew would come, a consequence I wanted, a consequence I planned. The crowd starts to jeer, their get out of here, man, and you're a jerk. A chorus I didn't expect, but can't deny their anger a mirror of my own, their judgment a reflection of my pain. A woman at the bar throws a napkin at Jake, her you're disgusting. A shout that echoes through the room, a shout that makes Jake flinch, a shout that makes me feel seen, a shout that makes me feel heard. I leave the bar, my hands empty, my heart heavy, my anger a fire that's finally starting to cool. I walk back to my apartment, the city lights a blur, the air cold, the silence a weight I can't escape. I think about Ryan, the boyfriend I thought I loved, the boyfriend I thought I trusted, the boyfriend I thought I knew, now the boyfriend I can't see, the boyfriend I can't forgive, the boyfriend I don't miss. I think about Jake, the brother I thought I could help, the brother I thought I could trust, the brother I thought I could handle, now the brother I can't stand, the brother I can't forgive, the brother I'll never forget. I think about my apartment, the sanctuary I thought was mine, the sanctuary I thought was sacred, now a sanctuary I can't recognize, a sanctuary I can't reclaim. I sit on my new couch, the air still heavy with the scent of fresh paint, my apartment a space I'm trying to rebuild, a space I'm trying to reclaim, a space I'm trying to love again. I wonder if I went too far, if my revenge was too much, if my anger was too raw, a revenge I thought was fair, now a revenge I can't unsee, a revenge I can't undo. I wonder if I've become someone I don't recognize, a woman who breaks, a woman who burns, a woman who fights, a woman who might never be whole again. I think about the crowd at the bar, their jeers, their judgment, their anger, and I wonder if I've crossed a line, if I've let my pain turn me into someone I don't want to be, someone I can't live with, someone I can't face. I think about the future, the trust I've lost, the love I've let go, the safety I can't find, a trust I thought was mine, a love I thought was real, now a trust I can't feel, a love I can't see. I look at the new plants on my windowsill, their leaves a pale green, their roots still settling, and I wonder if I'll ever find peace again, if I'll ever find home again, if I'll ever find me again, a me I thought I knew, a me I thought was strong. A me I thought was safe, now a me I can't see, a me I can't feel, a me I can't be.